Good afternoon. I found it. I found my badge. Decided we better, if we're going to corporate up for Bernina, we'd better do the whole lot. And you know, it was in a logical place. It's magnetic. So where was it? It was on the fridge. Of course it was. There we go. I'm on. Right, that's it. Got my name and everything now. How are we this afternoon? Are we good? I'm really looking forward to this in a way. I've managed to make myself terribly nervous about demonstrating a Bernina. I don't know why. I sew on them pretty much. I'm not doing very well, am I? Every day I sew on them. They are my babies, and if you were coming in to pick up your beautiful new Bernina or for a demonstration on Berninas in our shop, it just wouldn't faze me at all. But put me on Facebook and talk about them. A little bit scary, just a little bit scary. Who is here this afternoon? Michelle's here. Oh, Mary, you were straight off the mark. Hi, Pam. Good to see you. Oh, Christine's here. Lovely. Good afternoon, Nancy. Shirley's in the building. Lovely. Good afternoon, Yvonne. And Marie Evans is here. Oh, you're all in. Oh, you're on time, Karen. Do you like being punctual? Is that what it is? You love being punctual. My head is chopped off. I do know, but it's because I'm going to sit down. So I'll do that for you for a minute. Marilyn, good afternoon. Oh, Marie says, good afternoon, everyone. That is lovely. Who's got the cool, oh, Pam's got the cool emojis. So who says finally? Ah, Margaret de Bono. I was going to ring you tomorrow. Yes, because I mentioned a little thing the other day that I'm starting to stress a bit about. Well, not stress, but I did want to talk to you about Berninas. Oh, Tracy, good afternoon. Sally's here. Christine's here. Good afternoon, Sharon. Oh, don't be nervous. You know what it will be? It will only be nervous if I do something silly, because they are perfect and I'm not. So if anything goes wrong, we all know it's operator error. So there you go. It'll be fine. Oh, Joy's here as well. Oh, well, Mary, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You've had your machine for a while now, so it would be nice if I did find something for you. But this afternoon's little demo is really basics. Well, basics as far as a computerized Bernina goes, but it is basics for startup. And I didn't want to overwhelm people too much today. I know I've got ladies at home that have their new Berninas and they have literally been too scared to take them out of the box until we have a chance to get together, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So it really is straight up basic stuff today, but again, it's just a good refresher. It might remind you of a couple of things that if you did have orientation that you've forgotten about. You may not be able to find a couple of things. You might be wondering what a couple of those little bits and bobs in those little Ziploc bags are for. Things like that. So it is just my true tried, here's the heads up, basic demo. Again, it's not that basic, is it? Anyway, it's my true and tried things that I like to do for people when they first get their machine, usually one-on-one, when we usually talk, that I know is going to get them through that first sort of 6 weeks. Let's say 6 weeks. And then I always say at the six weeks to 6 months, depending on what happens in your life, I want you and that machine back in with me. And then it goes off to Tim for its complimentary first service. I like them to have a run in with you first, a little bit like when we used to get the new Holden and Dad used to go, it needs a drive up the Hume to run it in. That sort of thing needs to happen. And then we answer all your questions. So instead of doing that, we're going to do some demos. So this is the first, and then we're going to build it up. We're going to build it up of all the different features of the machines, because I've got more than one machine to do, remember, as well. And then I'm starting my Bernina book club, which will run as an online club, sort of next to a quilter's life, if that makes sense. So it's all going to happen. And I've corporate the set. And there's a lesson to be learnt. Don't use display spikes to hang things on that are long, because tomorrow morning I'm going to have a lot of little bruises on my arm. Either that or I need to move the table forward because I've caught myself on them several times. Well, yes, Jenny, you got to check out what the new ones do. I saw someone wrote, I belong to a couple of different Facebook pages for Berninas, and if you do own a Bernina, there will be a Facebook page for you. I belong to the Bernina 790 Facebook page, and it's a great spot. I learned things there, but it's a great little community, if you like. But yeah, it is good to just check out what's out there. But one of the girls did say last night, okay, heads up, none of you said it to me. This is really a computer that happens to sew, not a sewing machine that's computerized, and that's, yeah, kind of true. So yes, well, Lorraine, you have to dream. You must dream, and it's not a small thing investing in a Bernina, and I am very cautious when someone buys a new foot or something, or even when girls come in the shop. I don't like, the word just was banned from the checkout in my shop, because I don't like it when you go in and you've spent $200 on clothing or something and the girl goes, is it just those for today? I don't like that. Berninas are expensive. It is that whole classic, you get what you pay for and then some, because that's not a cheap investment. So, but it's good to see. It's good to see what's out there. And there are different Berninas for different people. There are different models, different budgets, all of that. All of that. Okay. Are we ready? I have cue cards. This is how freaked out I made myself. I have cue cards. So, step one. Oh, and we've got to get your machine ready. All right, let's talk about first what happens when you take it out of the box. Now, that may seem like a really silly thing. You just plug it in and go. No, no, no. You have to do it. Have to do it right. I've got so many cameras now. I don't know where to go. Okay, let's go. Let's go, camera. The new camera 4 is all ready to go. Okay. So the first thing when you take your machine out, first of all, too, I must say, if you've got lots of questions, please put them in, because I will come back through and have a look later. For example, Karen DeWilt and Kathy Douglas, so they both have 770 machines. Now, what that means, just a quick heads up, because there is a comparison and we're going to come back and do 770s and 790s another day. Heads up on that. These girls have wider feed dogs, so I'll just mention that now. The 720 and a 475, which is also a beautiful little pocket rocket that we will go through for, just off the top of my head, the Michelle Fishers of the world, the Fionas of the world, a few others. You've got the same setup here, but the 570s and the 770s and the 790s, ooh, and the new 590, wait for it, with the embedded Swarovski crystals in it, which is coming next week. They all have wider feed dogs. I've made myself excited. I can't speak now. 9mm wide across here, these feed dogs. And remember, with your feed dogs, these are really important. They don't just pull the fabric through. They determine how wide your stitches can go, because your needle can only go, if I take that off, your needle can only go the width of that slot that fits in between the feed dogs. So that's the main difference. If you are looking to buy a machine, you've got to keep that in mind. The ones with the wider feed dogs are brilliant, but they need just a little bit more understanding and respect. But I'll go through that another day for you. I've already got sidetracked. How is that possible? Okay. Yeah, well, we've all, I still learn a lot myself, Karen. Absolutely. I'm learning lots all the time. Joy, your Aurora is not a dinosaur. It is an iconic machine. Absolutely iconic. I still have mine. It's with Phil's partner Kate at the moment, and she's loving it. It's drop dead gorgeous, and all of the feet from a 440 go on a 720, and most girls upgrade from a 440 to this. Okay, when you start your machine up, first of all, do not start your machine up. No. Have a look. There will be a little piece of paper in with your machine and I think there's actually a sticker that came here. I did unfortunately have to fire my machine up to check everything worked, not worked, you know what I mean, with the cameras to make sure they worked. And I just did it automatically, and I didn't stop and think, oh, I wanted to do that with the girls. But before you fire up your machine, there will be a little yellow plastic fitting on here. That makes your machine Switzerland proof. It means it got here in one piece, okay, from the Swiss Alps. So that is a really important thing to know. You do not need to keep that yellow bit now. You can toss it, but I want you to take it off before you fire your machine up, because it's securing and holding the foot. It's holding the foot. Oh, I've got my hover foot on. Oops. It's holding the foot down flat. If you turn it on beforehand, a little bit like a champagne cork, it's going to go ping, and it might distort things, very important things up here. So take that off first. And the other thing you won't be able to see, there'll be a piece of polystyrene under here. Fiona. Oh yes, well your trolley is on its way. I can check on the tracking for you if you like. Oh no, you've got your tracking, haven't you? It's on its way, TNT to you, to your door. So that sits under there, or it's actually coming Australia Post. I will check for you. It sits under there. You can't see it. Get that out because you're not going to be able to put your table on. You'll see it also it's also got little bits of blue tape everywhere, so you can take that bit off. It'll have another bit around the back of the machine. Lots and lots of safety features for you. The other thing that you'll need to do when you look at your screen, it is not broken. It'll look pixelated, purely because you haven't taken the plastic cover off. Do you like the way I did that? And then the other thing I will not be able to do as graciously is it's got its little, like a little cheese slices container. It's got a little bit of a peel and seal happening there. So you've got to get that off. And then you will need to take off all of this. And you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure I do not impale myself on the needle. The machines come with really, really good Bernina needles in them. And when you run out from the pack that comes with the machine, I would strongly recommend switching over to Superior Thread Titaniums. Just a 90-14 to a pack of those to get you well and truly underway. They will last a long, long time. Okay, so shiny. So don't worry when you open it up and it looks scratched. It's not. It's all stainless steel. It's just, there'll be a few little marks, but that was just the protective cover, so get that off. Okay, now, you ready? We're going to do the bobbin bit. Am I following my notes? I have notes. Yeah, okay, we'll do bobbin first. So, it comes with a sticker. You know, this reminds me of the stickers that come on the front of the washing machine. That, you know, I don't need to know it's any energy efficient now I've bought it. I just want the sticker gone, and I sit for hours peeling it off. These are not that hard to get off, so just peel that off. Oh, sorry, I had to get some coffee. Do you like? Look, I've even got the Bernina mug. That may or may not have just been acquired without anyone noticing from head office staff room. Just saying. And I have not been to head office into the staff room, so it wasn't me. And if that's just a little friendly reminder that if anyone wants their machine serviced by Tim before Christmas, they need to get onto him because he's filling up. Alright, so we're not going to take this off for now because it takes a little bit to get off. Flip down your lid, and then in here is your beautiful bobbin. So a little bit like the previous versions, like a 440, they have a little lever that sits horizontal, but it's got a little bar sitting in a little plastic dome. I don't think you can quite see it. Maybe we need, no, we can't have a camera 5, that would just be silly. Okay, so we're going to push the lever, I'll show it to you, and bring it out. Alright, so you can see, or my camera might just take a little bit to focus. So you've got this little bar that sits across here. Let me just try and get you in the light. I know what's happened. The light's shining in the window and it's messing with my, there you go. So I don't know what that means, Robbie.
Do you want me to zoom for you?
No, zoom's fine, but can you put the blind down for me on the side tab? So you've got a little lever across here, and that's what clicks in and releases the bobbin from the bobbin race in here. Another day we're going to cover cleaning and maintenance, I promise. But you don't need to worry about that with a new machine. Okay, so there's our beautiful big bobbin. And you'll see it's shiny on the back. They are the sensors. So those sensors are going to tell you, they'll do things, when you've nearly run out of thread. They are really important for that. So if you've got a lot of stuff laying around on your bench that could be rough, if you're one of my girls and you've got your sandpaper laying around for templates, don't let your metal near it. I just want you to keep these nice and safe, a little bit like your credit cards, because they will get scratched. So just be careful with that. Now we're going to fill this. We're going to fill another one. I've got one up here. We can put some in. It's so funny, Robert. Hey, the other thing too, I haven't taken these off. Well, you've got protective stuff everywhere. I'll do that one later. Okay, so to fill your bobbin with these, the silver side always goes down. So it goes down on here, and it also goes down when you put it into the bobbin case. So it goes on here. I have two full white ones. What does that say about me? Oh, goodness. Now we also, all right, we're going to do this right, girls, because it is a new machine. So I'm going to just grab out. Hey, I have to tell you, I'll tell you one thing. I have got organised this week because we're going to be doing some classes together. And you know how we all as quilters have this thing, that the one with the most fabric dyes wins? Yeah, well, if you're a Bernina dealer, the one with the most feet wins, okay? So I have put all my feet from all my Berninas in here. How ridiculous is that? Okay. Where's my stoppers? I want my, oh, there they are. They're sitting right in front of me. So rubber foam stopper, really important to pop one of these on up here. And you get 3 different sized plastic stoppers with your machine. I'm always losing these. I don't know if they all end up in the same machine, or I've put mine on when people have come to pick machines up. Not sure, but I'm always losing mine. But you can get more, but that's mine. And because I'm using a big reel of cotton, I'm going to pop my big one on. I go that way. Nathan, Mr. Bernina, estate manager, he goes that way. So I don't know. I'm going to go my way for now. Now, also, you've got 2. All right, so you've got another one. If you haven't found that yet on your Bernina, Fiona, you've got one of these as well. And if you're on a 570, then you've got, Kath, you've got a pop-up one. So you've got a little one that you push a button. You've got a metal one that comes up. So that's your little flip up there. So with this, now, this is where I'm going to break the rules a little bit. There is an official way to wind your bobbin, and then there's a shortcut. I've never had a problem with the shortcut. Nathan will kill me. But I always just go round this one here and straight onto my bobbin. And then I found out you're actually supposed to go through here and then round there and down to your bobbin. How embarrassing. But that was when I became a dealer, in my defense. There's a little metal loop here. That's a really good little spot to use if you're doing metallics or embroidery threads, because it pulls the thread directly out from the reel. Also, I use this if I'm using a big reel, like a big cone of thread, and it's sitting behind the machine. So you can see I've wound around a couple of times, and then you do have a cutter on here. So you slip it under the cutter and give it a cut, and then we turn it on. When you do that, you'll have a screen. Oh, this is where it gets really technical, girls. Hang on. I'm going to switch you over because I want to show you what happens And I have no idea what I'm doing now. Oh, camera 4. That's right, we have a camera 4. So just have a look at the screen while I'm winding. See that? You've actually got a control that you can speed up or slow down how fast your bobbin winds. That's really important too. I think if you're doing bobbin work and you're putting fancy schmancy threads, then, you know, it means you can slow down, and monopoly, filament, all that stuff, you've just got more control. So I've wound enough onto there, so I'll lift him off and just cut him on here. Oops. Now, the one phone call that I love, and at your expense, not mine, I get to have a little giggle. Who was it the other day? Christine Davey, who has been sewing on her machine. And it's no offense to Christine, because she is one of many, many girls that really get into their Berninas, using them really well. Then they decide they're not going to use them for a few days, and they get the cover out and put the new cover on. Or they pack up their machine and they take it off to retreat, so that's not happening that much at the moment. Or girlfriends, and they come home and they panic and they ring me because their machine, can you hear that? It's making a terrible noise. All it is you've touched your bobbin winder, and it's got the motor running at high speed because there's no resistant on it. So if you get a really high whir and you go, what? It's your bobbin winder. Just turn it off. It will save you the phone call. Oh, Kathy, that is, oh my goodness. 3 machines, huh? So you're like me. I don't read the manual. We have the manual here. I have the manual. Look, it's sitting here. I'm not touching it, because the manual to me is something that you sit and read when you need to read, or when you first get your machine, Fiona, and you're too scared to get it out of the box. Just sit and read your manual for a bit. Emma Bowman did. She's got, you know, my Emma. She's got her new 720. And it took me 3 years to convince her. She's very, very happy. Not convinced. She'd had to, you know, she had to save up for it. And she loves it. But she actually got it officially for her 50th. But unofficially, it arrived at her house 2 weeks before. So she sat and read the manual. I think she now knows more about that machine, this machine, than I do. But that's M. I learn things as I need to. So the manual is going to be fantastic, but just to get you started, I wanted to do this today. All right, I started threading my machine without even talking to you. Okay, right, pull that through. All right, give you the overhead shot back, because we'll just go from here. All right, so thread, once you're ready, it's going to come along and go up under this first one here, and then it's going to come across, and it's going to go down the right hand side of the guide. Okay, so, and you've got arrows, so you go across to here and you've got arrows to come down here, around down the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to go round, and we're going to go up, and we're going to link in to the little loop. You know those little loops. This is very, very common for all machines, but the nice thing now is you've got this beautiful silver guard on here. I can remember with my first machine that Mum and Dad bought me when I was 16, I started off, cut my teeth on an old bentwood wooden box Singer that was Mum's. And then they bought me a second-hand Lamar. And I do remember several times giving myself a big bash in the head with a little looper in there, but no more. Okay, then this is going to come down. You've got a couple of guides here. Oh, we've got our foot off still. If you haven't got a Bernina, these guys run on a shank, so you've got a hole here, and it sits up onto a shank, lever on, and it's on. So if you've got arthritic hands, that would probably be... Karen's done it and made the phone call. That's admitting. I wasn't going to say anything. You're going to love this because well, there's 2 reasons. One is how easy it is to get the feet on and off without a screwdriver. And the second thing is you don't have a lever for your foot up and down. Alright, so we've got one little bar here that I've popped it under. Then you've got another one on the needle shank. And then we're good to go for threading. Now, you can thread by hand. I was always stubborn that I was never going to use a needle threader, and you know, once I used a needle threader it was all over. And as Emma said, when we've had a 2 o'clock coffee at work, we can thread a needle with the machine running. But in all seriousness, oh, don't you love that? Did you see that? Look at that, the foot goes up and down on its own, and it's getting out of the way for you while you thread your needle. Okay, you come down till you feel it hit, you pop it around the little grey spike, you go all the way down, hold it up on a 45-degree angle and let it go. It takes a knack. It will take you a while to get the hang of it, but once you have, you won't think twice and you'll use it all the time. So we're all threaded up, and I'm going to pop our bobbin back in our bobbin case. It goes in with the silver side down. As you pop it in, it'll be springy. It's supposed to be. It'll spring up and down, and there is only one slot for it to go in. So you go into one little slot. It sits underneath this bar here. This is the thread tension bar, and I'm going to come back to thread tension in a minute because it's very different to a 440 and other machines. And then there is just these little metal loops that it clicks in and sits in. So it's a fast thing to do. Now if I take that out again and do it for you. I was going to do it quick for you and that didn't work because I took my glasses off. Holy moly. Okay, so it is really, you look for the hole, you go in, round and up, and it's in. So it is not fiddly. Now, when you move the coffee, Leesa, when you pop your bobbin case back in, that little lever needs to be horizontal. If you put it in and it won't stay in, it's because you've got your finger on the release button. So just make sure your fingers are not sitting on that bar. And then you've got another cutter here to cut off your bobbin thread. If you do not shut your front door, when you start sewing, after a couple of inches, the machine will go at you, and there'll be lights, flashing lights and red and crosses, and not skull bones, but you know, it'll cross at you that there's something wrong in your bobbin case. All it is, you haven't shut this door, because it is a real safety feature again with these machines. No exposed mechanical parts, so you need to shut that, and then it knows that you are nice and safe. So there you go. All right, now I'm going to, just before we do anything else, I'll pop on our so what are you all saying when I'm not looking? Done the finger on release bobbin. Oh, so you're all, it's like confessional with all you all. That's funny. All right, so I'm just going to pop on our platform. There we go. Nice and snug. And to get this off, you've got a release button here. So that's in, and you just push that and slide it off again. So that's nice on, and I said that's why you've got to take that plastic off, because it is super snug and it won't fit on well, and I don't want you to damage it, to be quite honest. All right, what I was saying, and from here there's lots and lots of different places that I can take you on the machine. There's lots, and so I really, it's probably a little bit random the way that I'm going to do things now, but it's just a few things that I want to tick off as you get started. Then it's going to show the features as well, but it's, you know, just little bits and pieces that are important to know about your machine, because you've upgraded to one and it might be really different to what you've had before. Also, you can understand what the features are if you want one, pretty much. I'm not happy with how dark that is. I'll turn that around a bit. Robert offered to come and change the light, and I might have to take back what I said now. Give me 2 ticks. I'll just try and move this up just a little bit. Oh, that's a bit better. Okay, so hopefully you can just see that screen there. All right, we'll give it a go, shall we? So the main thing to remember is that it is a computer. Yeah, can you pop that blind up a bit for me, Tar? Anyone would think you were listening in the other room, Rob. Oh, Mary. Well, there you go. That's fine. Now you know. Oh, that's it. Thanks. Well, it's cloudy now, so we're fine. Cool. All right. So the thing about these machines is that we no longer adjust our thread tension from underneath. We only do it from. You're right. What did you knock over?
I have no idea.
Listen, Greg could be watching today. Get out. Just crack. We don't adjust our thread tension from underneath. So on the metal bobbin, so on your 440s and on a 325, that little tension bar that wraps around the bobbin case, it's got a little screw in it, and you can get your little screwdriver and you can turn it up and down, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and adjust your bobbin tension. Same with the Q20. We still do it that way with Qs for obvious reasons, because we're free motion quilting and we need that control top and bottom when you've got depth of pile and everything going on with the mechanism of how those quilting machines work. But with these machines, all of the tension is digitally controlled. So it's all done from up the top. Yes, there is a teeny weeny little screw on the tension in your bobbin case, and Tim will be the first one to say to you, do not touch that. That is for a mechanic, not for you. That is a master thing that we just don't go there. We leave it to the master to do. So what I want to show you is an example of how the upper thread tension works. Now, again, I'm not necessarily doing things in order, but let's see, we've just put the bobbin in. I'll show you this now, so you just understand the way it works. So on the screen, turn that around a bit more, there you go. On the screen, up here, you've got different things, lots going on in here, isn't there? Lots and lots. Over here, you've got your tension. Oh, don't tell me my stylist isn't here. It's not, you know, it's not even attached to my machine. That's all right. I'm going to use my screwdriver just for the purpose of this. Left it in the other room. Okay, so up the top here, you've got your upper thread tension. It's in that top little box up there. Now the machine is set to a default upper thread tension. 5.25 when you turn on a 720 is your default, and I know it is my default because it is white. If I change that in any way, it will be yellow. Did you all know that? That's a thing. It is indeed. So if we click on this, I'm going to talk about manually changing your tension first. If I click on it, again with my stylist, Rob will hear me, you'll go and get it. 5.25, I've got two ways of changing this. I shouldn't say you have to use your stylist. You don't. You do not have to use your stylist. However, if you have acrylic nails, you are to use your stylist, because after a while of doing this to your screen, you can throw its calibration out. So stylist is good, and also just your finger, just a clean finger. So here I can change it. See that? Easy. Minus, plus, and you can see that little screen around that amount there is now yellow, and it's yellow over here as well. So that's one way. The other way, you've got a sliding grail. So you can go up and down, however you wish to change it. For me, I love this because it's accurate to me. I know I'm going up at 0.25 at a time. Now when I take it back to default, the yellow will go. So it's all set in there for us. And you will close this screen down like you would a computer screen or a web page. You're back to your home page there. So here's the fun bit. When I change stitches, so if I go from a straight stitch to a zigzag, your machine will make a little click noise. It's adjusting your tension for you. And it's now down to 4.25. It does it for you. We no longer have to fiddle with dials or adjust or do trials. It automatically does it for you. Default setting for 2 bits of cotton fabric. Done. that is reason enough for me to sleep well when I know I'm coming up to doing something with decorative stitches. So again, if I go through all of these, you might not be able to hear it, the machine's doing a little click click. Triple stitch, it'll go up to 6 because it needs a tighter tension. Triple zigzag, 5.5, it just changes it for every stitch. And the same when we go into decorative stitches, every single one, it will change the tension for you. That, my friends, is just a joy. So when you do go to change your stitches, if you hear the click, that's what's going on. Another thing too, if I choose zigzag, for example, and I come over here and use my dials to increase the width, or to decrease it, or to make it longer or shorter, and you can customize all of your stitches length and width with your dials. With your dials over here, or again on the screen, you can click the width, do it by hand, and the length. You can do it all that way as well. So dials all over here. Everything you can change. When I do this, I make that shorter. It will change the upper thread tension to adjust for a wider stitch or a longer stitch. Every single stitch in this machine has been programmed in with the optimal tension for you. So don't think when you start up the machine, how am I going to know what to do when I get to the zigzag or the decorative? How do I change it? It's going to do it for you. Now, same goes if you... Jenny, you're not nearly 60. Surely not. Man, I had you about the same as me. That can't be right. Okay. Sorry. You brought up age in the comments, so I just had to add my own bit. Now, the fun bit. The really fun bit. What if... Alright, so that's fine for 2 cotton fabrics. What if you're going to do wool, or you're going to do organza? There is a little mannequin here along the bottom. You push your mannequin and it will bring up all different types of cloth and textiles you might be sewing on. So for me, this is cotton. So I go organza, cotton, linen, denim, 3 lots of depth of pile of a knitted fabric, fluffy stuff. Then you get down to the looping and the rug maping and all the other fancy schmancy stuff you can do on your Bernina. So if I tell it I'm doing denim today, and it will say, well, what sort of stitch are you doing, Leesa? And I'll go, well, I think we're doing a decorative. So I'll push decorative stitch and it will say, okay, a number 90 needle's a really good idea. Cotton's fine. Number 1 foot is your ideal foot, but it will also show me in here lots of different feet, and it will show me stitch number 424. And what that is, it's pretty much Mr. Bernina and the team saying, okay, if you're going to use that stitch on wool or a decorative stitch, this is the best stitch to stitch out as a test stitch before you start your work. So when Tim services the machines as well, he has a whole series of stitches, and you'll see it when you get your machine service. There'll be a number 9 and all these other ones. That are the test stitches that the mechanics use. So they're pretty much saying a good example of a stitch that should work perfectly on wool fabric is, to give you an idea if you're in the right spot, is stitch 424. So when I click the tick down the bottom, I click this, it'll take me to 424. What has it done? Oh, it's adjusted my tension right down to 2.25. Thank you very much. I would test stitch that out, check how it goes, and again I can come in and manually change my tensions if I need to. So it's a shortcut. It's an absolute shortcut. If you haven't explored your little checkerboard thing down here, which is supposed to look like a quilt, if you're down here and you haven't explored all of these stitches yet, I want to come back another day and talk about quilting on these machines with the thread tension in our heads as well, because that whole quilting section adjusts the tension again for sewing your quilt, so it allows for the depth of the pile It's where we do applique with blanket stitch, free motion, all that stuff happens in there. So that is that's an exciting day, and that will be general for all Berninas when I do that bit. So the new ones, the 475s up to the 790s, they will all fall in that category. So if I ever get nervous about a class, it'll be the 790. Oh, because yeah, that thing's a space cadet, space station for space cadets, I should say. All right, so this machine is going to alter your tension for anything. So please, if you've got one, have a look through that category. And again, that automatic tension, that does apply to the 475, Fiona. Marie, you've got that for your 720. Christine's got that, and up to a 790 as well for Anne-Marie. Judy on a 770. Jill, that'll apply for all of you, okay? So that's all good. Now, I've done all of that. What else do we need to talk about? It does sew, by the way. I'm getting there. Don't worry. It does sew. Right, so let's do needle up, needle down. I know it's a straightforward thing, but we have options. We do have options to play with. So come across here. Needle up, needle down. We have, three options for our needle up, needle down. I've just picked up my foot off the floor. So the first one is, I say on the machine or on the screen. So the first one is here on the machine, and just above your slider bar. I will fix up this light next time, girls. I can see what I need to do. I'm going to swing a light right around behind the camera. There is your needle up, needle down button here. This is a one-off task. So just once, no matter what else you've got set on the machine, one off. So we go needle down. Oh, I love that noise. See, I haven't used him yet today, so he just fired up. Oh, lovely. And it's like starting up a sports engine. Okay, needle up. There you go. Then you've also got, so that's a one-off option. Same goes for your foot pedal. You can use your heel to go needle down, needle up. So you can use your heel. That leaves you hands free to work with whatever you're doing at the time. Let's pull that up. Then the other one that you've got is up here on the screen. You've got needle up, needle down on a touch on the screen. So when you use this one, it will always stay in the up position when you finish, or it will always stay in the down position when you stop. Sorry, I should say when you stop. So one off here, one off with your foot, or always stop up and down. So my best scenario is I have mine set to be down, and then when I use the finishing stitch, which I'll come to in a tick, and cut off, or when I'm turning a corner or anything like that, or I need to reposition, then I'll just use the one off up and down, or with my foot. So that's awesome, having that set up there. And you've got that on a 442, I think. No, Marie, I don't think there is a page that explains the fabric selection, and that is one little thing that I've spoken to the guys about. I'll have another look through, but I don't think so, but I'm going to write that up. Oh, Carol, you made me laugh at you at your expense. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. I really didn't. Denise, that is awesome. I'm pleased you are, and it's just reassuring me that maybe I do know these machines a little bit. And you know what my phobia is that when you know the story, don't you? Or you may not know the story. I decided I wanted a new Bernina because I'd had a 440 for quite a while. Phil was 8 when I got my 440 Aurora. He actually sold it to me with his new quilting friend Jenny Bowker. I had him with me at a Melbourne Craft and Quilt Show, and the Bernina stand with Sandy and Sue from Pakenham was behind my stand. It was only the second time I'd done a show, and Phil was with me, and because it was school holidays. And he came around and he said, Mum, you've got to come and try out this new machine. It's got a BSR. I'm going, what? What's a BSR? And my new friend Jenny's taught me how to quilt. I'm going, who's Jenny? Jenny Bowker, of course, internationally acclaimed quilter, has taught Phil to quilt. Anyway, I loved my 440, but I needed the wider throat. I'd got to that point, as many people do. And I strutted over to the Bernina stand at AQC one year and was ready for a fight to say, look, I send a lot of people to Bernina dealers, to Sandy and Sue. I'd like a deal on a 7, I think a 710 at the time. And Greg came back with a contract. And all of a sudden, I'm a friend of Bernina, and I had one to take home. So then I taught with that machine for 3 years and absolutely loved it to bits. Loved it. And then they took it off me and gave me a 720. I was a bit sad when they took it, but as a friend, you just work with what you've got. But yeah, it was a weird thing becoming a Bernina person, and then you know what that leads to. You just lead to being a dealer. Absolutely lead to being a dealer. But with that first machine, I am ashamed to say, I did not know a fifth of what it could do, because I wasn't out to learn. I was out to use it and teach straight stitch and quilt with it, but I didn't learn all the other stuff. I don't even remember if I knew it had automatic thread tension or anything on it. So it takes a long time, and unless you're forced into learning all these things, or you need to, like I do as a dealer, you don't. I didn't know how the... Have you all worked out how to use your buttonhole foot yet? I'm just wondering. We'll find out, won't we? We will find out. Okay, so needle up, needle down. Now let's do foot up, foot down. Again, you've got a few options. You've got a one-off on the machine, so you've got foot up and foot down. Now we know that. Oh, see how mine comes up a bit? We'll get to that in a minute. We all know why, don't we? Yes, we do. Hang on a minute. If I put that up. There we go. All right, so it's all the way up. So that's one option. Now the other option that you've got, of course, is your knee lift. So your knee lift, which is going to be a little bit hard to demo for you. I'm going to set up another day to use the knee lift. You can just see that little hole down there. For those of you that don't have one, this is a knee lift. That's what goes in it. I had to convince Emma that the knee lift was okay because, and not speaking out of school, both of us on our genomes have managed to, which is a long time ago for me now, managed to upset our hips. But this guy sits really nice ergonomically in your machine, and if you're not happy with where it's sitting, hello Grandy, if you're not happy with where it's sitting, you need to just shift your little tush along to left or right, and usually it's you're not sitting close enough to the knee lift, but it is lovely. Now the difference the knee lift will make as your other option is when you use the knee lift, it's not straight up, straight down, it's gradual, so you're actually in control. As you move your knee out, your foot will go up a little bit, and I find that fantastic for manoeuvring over bumps and lumps and pin tucks and around applique when I'm quilting, all those sorts of things. I love it for that reason. So the other good thing about the knee lift is when you do engage the knee lift, the feed dogs drop. So it doesn't do that when you use the one-off function, but when you use the knee lift, the feed dogs will drop. So again, if you're putting your binding on and you're at the corner and you're turning on your mitre, you know how sometimes the feed dogs can get a little bit, you can feel them getting caught on the fabric underneath. It will stop that happening because you've just been given a slippery slide surface. And the other reason is, which I've got to stop doing it. If I'm doing cushion covers, I'm a bit tight. I don't put a piece of fabric on the back. I just iron on my iron-on palette and let rip with the quilting foot or the applique foot or whatever I'm using. And when you've got that rough polyester batting underneath, it can get caught on your feed dogs. So again, if I'm turning corners tight or whatever, the knee lift is fantastic for that. And just remember that it'll make a slightly different noise when you start sewing again, because each time it's going to re-engage the feed dogs. It's not massive, but you might, if you've got a good ear, you'll just pick up a little bit of a different noise with it. So yeah, so the knee lift I'll pop in, and we'll do that when we do the quilting one. We'll do that then. What's the other thing? Knee lift, needle. Oh, we're up to the needle and foot combo. Love a combo deal. I do. Can tell I get excited, don't you, about these machines. It's so silly. I've had them How long have I been doing this now? And I still like a little kid in a lolly. It's just sharing. It's sharing wonderful things. That's all it is. So cheesy, aren't I? Right, okay. Let's get the knee lift out of the way. So, the combo deal. And this, when people say to me, what is the difference? Why am I buying this if I've got a 440 or, you know, wow, at least it's a lot of dosh. Do I really need this machine? Yes, you do. Okay, so to go, the difference between, and I'm sure that Michelle and Fiona and the others watching that have got a 475 across here, they are not a 475, they are not going to be offended when I talk about the width and the difference between them, because with all of my girls we have talked about what they use their machines for. And if you are not going to quilt or don't think you're going to quilt a huge quilt on your machine with a walking foot, and if you don't think that one day you are going to buy the embroidery attachment for your machine, Michelle, this is why we didn't, because you won one. Just, you know, if you're not, then a 475 could give you everything that you want. Absolutely. Then there is another, in terms of the width between the needle shaft that you've got across here. But the other thing, and to me it is worth it, is this hover foot. So on here now, what I can do is talk to the machine through our settings. So we're going to go into settings, which is these little cogs here. And you're going to have 6 little icons come up on your machine. Mary, what have you done to see what it did? And now I have a stop sign. Help. Mary, I have no idea what you've just done. I would just go with the turn the machine off and turn the machine back on. And ring Tim on speed up, because I have no idea which one button you've pushed. Okay, Mary Elliott, if you have just got on, please do not worry. It will still be live on Facebook, and then we'll be popping it up on the Leesa Chandler YouTube channel this afternoon, and then you can watch it anytime you like. And in there, Cass and I are setting up a separate Bernina chapter. So like the Australian Textile Exhibition and Craft and Cook, all of that, they've got their own chapters. Love and Hugs has too, and you'll be able to go and watch them anytime. That's the plan. I feel like I'm channeling my absolute idol, Alex Anderson, because I was up watching her this morning at 2 a.m, as you do. I've just said something, I swear I've just taken it straight out of Alex's mouth. How bad's that? All right, in here, 6 icons. So when you look at this and you go, oh, which one do I push? Which one do I push? All right, see this one with the hoop? Don't push that. That is for machine embroidery. We will talk about that down the track, even when you wish to take that big adventure. This little eye here, what do you think that's for? Come on. Oh, this is like play school now, isn't it? What is the eye for? Let me show you. All this is doing is saying it's a sensor. It's a sensory thing. So it allows you to turn off the sensors that tell you when your thread has run out up the top. Oh yes, that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Knowing when you've run out of thread and just don't keep sewing. And when your bobbins run out. Now, do you know why you need them? Because you're going, why? Why would I want the machine to not tell me when they run out? Well, that's what I said, and then I took it back straight away because I realised what it was. It's when you're doing felting and you've got no thread in the machine. That's what that's for. Or you're using a cutter instead of a needle to cut out your paper pieces in a hoop. Yes, that is possible. So I'm going to go back. What did they call them? Cookies. We're going to go back and go back in our cookie crumbs back to this screen. All right, so what else is in here? Remember I said don't touch the hoop. This one down here looks like a little trumpet or a noise. Yes, it is. This allows you to decide if you want the beeping noise or not. Oh, Emma Bowman was asking me, how do I turn off the beeping noise? Oh, what did Christy say? Oh, Mary, it's your wedge button. Oh, is that which the one she's talking about? Oh, hey, thanks, Christine. Oh, you get an elephant stamp. Michelle Fisher loves her knee lift. Yeah, I know. It is good, isn't it? It is. Okay, this is so sidetracked. Beeping noises. You can have it as quiet as it comes with the machine, or you can ramp it right up to 4. So if you are hearing impaired, or like me, have the music cranked up, then you will want to put it up to 4. Now the other one that you can actually turn on or off or up is this little icon down here is your BSR. So it doesn't come with a 720, but if you've had a 440 and you've upgraded to a 720, you can use your Bernina stitch regulator on this machine, or like Emma, you save up your dosh, and she's just popped hers on now, and she said, how do I turn the beeping noise off? The beeping noise is actually really important. It tells you with a BSR when the machine can no longer regulate the stitches because you're going too fast for it. I don't really care if my stitches are a bit uneven, so I turn that off. Okay, back here, so you've got that little sensor for your threads, so you don't need to touch that unless you decide to felt with me later on. You've got noise, straightforward. This is maintenance in here, don't go there yet, we're going to come to that another day. This is a little picture, this is you. It does look like a man, and that bugs me just a little bit, but if you push it, you can change the colour of your screen. Now, have you all been in here yet? Good afternoon, Juliana. Have you been in here? Oh, hi Pauline. Oh, the team's in the building. Okay. This screen to me is really important. If you live in a busy household, you can tell your family whether they may interrupt you while you are sewing or not. For example, you can stick with the blue screen, which it comes with, or if it is a good day and they may interrupt you, you just choose the green screen, and it's like green for go. It's okay. I am approachable today. Grey, that would suggest she's not feeling really great. We should make her dinner or at least order Uber Eats. Very, very important. Pink, that's a party day. So when you're FaceTiming your friends, there are mocktails on the side and it's all happening. Pick the pink screen just to make yourself feel really good for the day. Okay, then it gets scary. Orange, oh, we shouldn't interrupt her. Maybe we can interrupt her 30 minutes before dinner is actually due. Okay, that's fine. Now, if you put red, that is a no-go zone. No one come near me. It's so, you know, well, that goes both ways because you could be choosing red for Bernina or not, but that's a no-go zone. So it's a communication with the family and a reflection of your mood. There are some other lovely colours. There's gold. Oh, we do like the gold. And there's aqua. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's really nice. It's aesthetic. That's all it is, this button, okay? And then you can choose little patterns. I like, there's a little oriental-y one in here. And there's polka dots. I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the cookies. I'll leave the blue on. See? All right. So that's about you. So you can see it's a big screen, but change your colour. Don't worry about that. Turn the sound up if you've got the music up. Ignore that. It's really nothing to be scared of. This is the button you want. This is stitching. We're stitching. All right. Oh, then you've got 4 more screens. Okay. Let's move on. While I'm stitching, so this is supposed to be my little hand pushing the fabric through. We'll push that, the screen we want. Over this side, needle down is what we're going to talk about today. So what happens when I'm using that needle down always command on the home screen we talked about? Aha, here we go. When I stop with my needle down, option 1, my foot will always stop all the way down, which it's not at the moment. And I can't do it while the screen's open here, but all the way down. Or, this is like the Goldilocks, isn't it? Over here, I can go all the way up, all the way up. Or, in the middle, is your hover. And this is the joy here. So every time I stop with my needle down, my foot is going to come up a little bit. That means you can turn for applique without doing anything. You can slide under your next block while you're chain sewing. It is an absolute joy, and that on top of the fact there's no lever at the back, it's all happening down here. The smoothness and the speed and efficiency you're going to get without wrecking your wrists is awesome. So I'm leaving mine on because I love mine. I'm going to go back a bit. Over here, how high do you want it to hover? So if you are on a deep pile for your quilting, for example, you can change how high your foot comes up. And that's pretty cool. Oh, yes, okay, now taking you back to this screen here. So we were in here. This is your master thread tension. Again, I don't want you to touch that. That is like master tension that will adjust all of your tensions up or down. If you are a jean maker, a curtain maker or something, then you come in here. Master speed. I'll come back to that. This little button here is really important for you. This is the securing stitch. On, off, when you start sewing. On, off. So you've got a little secure at the start and the finish. Really important again. I suppose for us quilters, that's really good. All right. Can I take you back in here because I got a bit happy with my finger. Cutting. So we've got an automatic cutter on all of our machines, yeah? Yes, we do. This is where on a 720 you can come in and cut, but would you like a securing stitch before you cut? You may have one. So you've got a little star for cottons. This one over here, it'll do a little row of stitches, a little. That's really good for knit fabrics because it won't unravel and it won't pull it all up. So I'm going to stick with my little cross one here because that's the one that I love. If I don't want it to cut, I just push the button and it will just cut and it won't do a securing stitch. So this is all like, if you're starting to fade, I understand, but there's just so much in this machine that you can customize to make your life easy, and you can just start sewing or you can come in and have a play. There's lots more in here I'm not going to confuse you with today. I'm going to cut that back there. Now we're back to our main screen again. When you are having a look at your machine, folks, as well, down this side here, you've got your number 1 foot written in here. So there's all these different feet that it's showing you that are suitable to use with a straight stitch. So you can slide through and you'll know what you can use. And you get a gold star if you use a number 1. All right, so I'll turn that off. If I came across and pushed, what's a good example? If I choose that one, again, it will have lots of feet, but it will have different feet. And if you'll go, oh, what is a number 39? And you can push that and it will tell you what a number 39 is and what its features are and how to use it. Applique over sewing with pearl yarn. Oh, I say. Sewing on woolen thread, inserting yarn or rubber thread. Holy dooly, do I have one of those? A 39. I'll have to check. I need to have them all. I must have them all. If I told you the story about the lady that came in with her sister-in-law to pick up her new feet for her Bernina, and the sister-in-law huffed at how much they were, and she was wearing a Pandora bracelet that just had a multitude of beads on it, and you know what I did, don't you? Yeah. I wasn't rude, I was subtle, but my customer got it. This is your foot pressure. So when you're sewing velveteens and slippery stuff and everything, you can get your non-slip Teflon foot, I think number 50, give me a minute, 52. But also you can change your foot pressure depending on what you're doing. The machine will do it for you again with some of those stitches with that automatic. If you go into your mannequin and tell it you're doing weird and wonderful stuff, it will do it for you. Hey, this is, you know what's really important? How to not break a needle, okay? How to not break a needle. If you switch over to your straight stitch plate, and some stitches will recommend that, and when you're having a read through, you get one of these as well. So it's just got a little hole instead of the slits. Now, if you're doing high speed sewing, like machine embroidery, like machine quilting with a darning foot, free motion, this is better to use because you can imagine when you're going super, super fast, super fast. Have you seen how easy these are to pop out? Look at that. This gap here, when you've got a needle going up and down through there at lightning speed, there is the opportunity, a micro opportunity, that the fabric will get pulled down into that slot. More so, girls, on your 570s and 570s and 770s and 790s, yeah? Even more important for you that you keep that in mind. So what you can do is switch over to your straight stitch plate that just gives you that little hole to use. High speed, you know, straight stitching, even with a 1/4 inch seam, it's actually really nice with a number 37 foot to use this one. You'll get a smoother finish, really nice. So what do you need to do when you put this on? You're not going to break your needle, are you? When you're going to break your needle is when you switch back and you start doing a blanket stitch or something else and you forget you've still got this one on. So you come into the machine here and there is one that says 5.5 mil for the plate. Push that and it will bring up this wild and wonderful screen with lots of different needles, and it will also bring up 3 different plates. Again, needles will come back to another day. I love this machine. It will adjust everything for you depending on which needles you've got. So if you switch over to twin needles, it will have a little chat with you and make sure you've got the right plate on and everything. It won't let you use a twin if you've got your straight stitch plate on. I love this. And it will chat to you about needles and things. It's quite lovely. So we're going to take off this one and we're going to put on our straight stitch. And the straight stitch ones all have this little orange square on them, so you know which one it is. This one here, that is cut work. Do you want to know what it is? You don't, do you? Yeah, you do. So there's programs with your machine embroidery module, if you so own one. You can set up, instead of a needle in your machine, you put a blade in and it will cut. I mean as in cut work for you. Get your head around that. I'm still getting my head around couching and felting, to be honest. Okay, so if I put this on and it knows my straight stitch plate's on and I close down this screen, if I say, I'm going to zigzag now, see that? Can you see what it's done? It's red. It goes red and it goes and it will not let you sew. And it's got an exclamation mark come up next to here. It won't let me sew. It won't. It's telling me nope, nope, and nope. So that is what will happen. Any of these stitches, it won't actually change. It won't. It just goes nope, nah, not happening. And that is brilliant because you do not want to break your needle. If you do break your needle, it comes with a straight stitch plate, Kath. You should have one. Which one of you? No, does it come with a straight stitch plate? Or do I need to get one? I think your machine, you need to get one. I will check for you. If it's not in that box, then we need to get one. Oh, Fiona. Yeah, no, we need to get one for you, Kathy. I'll organise that for you if you want one. That's so sad you can't get Uber Eats in Thorpedale. Oh, goodness me. Let's talk priorities, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to pop back my normal one. You will find on your plates you've got all these little holes. Okay, and you go, what are they for? I've shown you a couple of things before on shows. Circular foot attachment for embroidery, seam guides. There are lots of little different things that these are used for to screw in for. So don't worry. That you will discover those in your journey with your Bernina, I'm sure. Okay, so we've done that. What else haven't we done? I'm going to put this foot back on so we can do a quick sew out, because it's all about the features, and then I'll just do a quick sew for you. Start stop button. So up here you can use start stop button to go. You don't have to use your foot pedal. I find that is really handy when I'm doing boring things like hems on curtains and things like that, and you do use that if you pop a BSR on your machine. The thing about it is though, is you're going to want it to run at a comfortable speed because you're no longer using your pedal. So you've got 2 spots for changing your speed. One of them is here, so you've got a sliding speed control. So I would, when you start using your start stop button, I would definitely recommend that you have that all the way down to the left rather than all the way up. And you can always start sewing and try it. You can do anything on your Bernina while you're sewing. If it doesn't want to do it, it won't do it. So you can change your speed, you can change your stitch width. Obviously don't do that with a 37 or you make sure you've got a slot and you've got your plate on. You can change length and you can change width while you're sewing, which is pretty cool. But you can play with this while you're sewing. Now, if you find that that's too fast, or again you really want to start off slow, you might remember when we went into settings and we went into while I'm sewing, there's a little speedometer. So you can click on that, and that is your speed. The machine comes set to maximum speed. So when you've got your pedal to the metal, okay, that's all the way to the right, and this is all the way up here. That is as fast as your machine goes. So let's turn that all the way back down, and I would recommend turning your speed down to half. You can do it with that little sliding gauge or with the button. Just take him down. So that means now he's going to go slower. And when I've got this all the way to the right, this is now the maximum speed he will go at. So I've halved his maximum speed effectively, so that when I push the start stop button, here's where I want it to be. I'm going to put that back up because I'm a bit of a speed freak, but I'm going to turn that down ready for sewing. And you'll see this shining red. Don't worry, it will always shine red when you are not on your home screen. The machine will not run while you're still in the process of changing settings. That's another safety thing for you and for the circuitry in the machine. So we're going to shut that back down. We're back. Now, I've popped back on my correct foot plate, but the machine still thinks I've got this one on. It can't automatically detect, obviously, which plate you've got on. So you will need to come back and just set that back to the 5.5mm plate. And then he's happy. I can also see here that I'm in yellow because I'm not on my default setting because I'm still on a zigzag. So I'm going to push number 1, and we're all back to where we started. Don't forget to tell me. Marie, you were a step ahead of me. Extra bobbins. I know you need extra bobbins, don't you? We all think we don't need extra bobbins, but yeah, we need extra bobbins. Okay, so are we all feeling good about our machines now? See, there's a lot of things that are common between them all, but you know, it's just a little thing that, you know, sometimes things change because of the plate width. But as I said, I promise we'll do the 570, and I actually don't have a 770 at the moment. Someone may or may not have bought it, but I have a 790. So we'll run the 570 to cover all of the stitch features and everything, and dual feed and all of that stuff. Thread, start, finish, securing stitch, yes. Thread cutter, we've kind of done that. We'll come through it when I'm sewing. Needle threader, straight stitch. Oh, watch the nails. Now there was a couple of, okay, yes. As I said, watch your nails. Today you have got gardening hands. I didn't even do the manicure and grazed myself, sorry. So watch the nails, use your stylist if you can, and if not, use the pad on your finger. Now, some of the little things that come in your kit, you'll be going, what on earth is that? So you've got one of these. That's a height regulator, or it helps you regulate the height that you're sewing on. I will show you how to use that. The other thing, they're just common things that I know that people ask. What was the other thing? Stylist, height compensation. Oh, you get, you'll have one of these. I've only got a couple in here. I seem to collect them. You've got one of these. That is a seam guide, if you like. So if you're quilting a row, and then you can slot this into the back of one of your feet. Like one of these, any foot, you can pop him in. You've got right-sided ones and left-hand sided ones, okay? So you undo this little screw at the back and you slot that in. I bet you it won't go because that's my quilting one. Oh, there we go. So that's him there. So you can actually screw it in and secure it so that when the foot is on, you can get a really nice big width. If you're doing grid work quilting or something like that, that's really good. So you get them with a walking foot, and you also get them with your machine. Now, the reason I'm showing you this as well, a little bit like the noise on your machine, and people saying, what's the bit of plastic for? When you are sewing and you're sewing fast a lot, You get one of these screws on the back of all of your feet, and he can vibrate his way out. And I get lots of people that ring and say, my machine is falling apart, I've got a loose screw, where did it come from? And I see it on the Facebook pages as well. So I'm not being cocky, I'm just letting you know it's come out the back of one of your feet. If you lose one, if it goes in the vacuum cleaner, don't worry about it. You've got one on the back of every foot, and they're interchangeable between all your feet, and you will only be able to use one at a time. So please don't worry about that. Yes, it's fine. And the other thing, when you unpack your machines, mine's in here. When you unpack your machines and you're being a good girl and you're going through and you're marking off everything that's in the manual, so always do that. Go through, not because there'll be anything missing, but because you are then familiar with everything that's come with the machine. It gives you that little bit of curiosity to work out what everything is for. You won't be able to find your little grey screwdriver, and you use that for screwing things into those little holes on your foot plate, and a few other bits and pieces around your machine. You won't be able to find it, and it's in here. So it actually sits in here, in there. Okay, so it's wedged in. It's sitting in there. So if you haven't, you can miss it really easily in the diagrams. You've also got hanging space up here, more down here. You do get more in a little box that comes with it, but if you ever want more little plastic things to hang your feet on and things, just put them on your Christmas list. I think they're ridiculous. They're about $6, but if you need them, I always say it's a large cappuccino. I always relate it to coffee. So we can get more of these for you, or we can get more of the bobbin holders if you want them in there. But also, I did the little fake, shop wall for you. So I can just pull off the merchandise. There are Bernina bobbin cases that we've got as well. That Bernina do, any deal will have them. They're important if you want to keep them in a bobbin case, because your large bobbins need bigger holes to put stuff in. So that's, and what else do I have to tell you? That's where that goes. So I suppose you'd really like to know if it sews, wouldn't you? Okay. Let's sit down and do a quick sew. Look, I haven't used camera 2. Camera 2's feeling neglected. Shall we use that one? Goodness. Can't have that. Ah, Marie just got thrown out of Facebook. Marie, what happened? I don't know. We're expecting to get thrown out of Facebook this week. Oh, that sounds bad, doesn't it? That we're doing it on purpose, but we're not. I'm very, very, in a silly little thing, very, very excited. Jude, I've got Mum's fabric here still. I think I'm going to send it to you, and you can send it to her, because I don't know if I've got Mum's address now. I might do that. Hey, I'm very excited. I have organised to have the royalty rights to a beautiful acoustic guitarists, artists' music, so I can use it as my theme for Facebook and YouTube. Isn't that exciting? And he is a gorgeous man called Carrie Loonkamp, and he is in Hobart, and I met him years and years and years ago. If you ever went to Salamanca Market, there was a lovely man there playing acoustic guitar, and that is Carrie. And he played pretty much at all of Rob's parents' major events. They were party goers, so there would be anniversaries and major birthdays. It was just a stock standard thing that Carrie always played in the background. I had a good chat with him last week, and he's okay for me to use his beautiful music. So in future, we're hoping, Facebook, we need to make sure that they're on board, that I've got permission. We are going to start our shows with his lovely music, and then it will come on a little bit before Facebook Live, and you'll hear it and go, oh, I've got just time to put the kettle on and get a drink, and then by the time Carrie's finished playing, we'll be good to go. So what we have to do, oh, look at me, look, I'm going for the lever and it's not there. What we have to do is pretty much on purpose use a private Facebook page and see if Facebook spits it, and if they spit it, then we can tell them that we've got permission. That's just an... Anyway, it'll be, I think it will be lovely. Oh, Jude, that's why I can't find her address, because she's with you. All right, are we ready? It does so, I promise. Okay, so I've got my foot on the pedal, and you can see that my foot is still up. If I touch the top of my pedal, my foot goes down. That's all I need to do, because the machine thinks I'm starting to sew. I could have done that in one motion and just started sewing, but you can tap if you want to. The other thing, oh, I know what we didn't talk about yet. I will show you. The other thing too, if I want to start with my needle down, I can push the front of my pedal on the floor, and then the hover foot will engage, and you can see it's just come up a little bit, just a little bit. How bright are those lights? Okay, so off we go. So there's my little securing stitch. It's sewing in the same spot, and then we're good. I can keep going. There we go. Oh, it's so cute. And it will stop up because I haven't got it set to always stop with the needle down at the moment. I have managed to knock that out in moving the machine. I'll just pop that back in there. Not that it really matters. There we go. So I've popped it down now so that it always stops when it's down. And up it comes a little bit. So you can see I don't have to touch anything. I can just turn. And it will go up a bit, and I can turn. So it is a joy, and I'm going so slow. Let me crank it up. Okay. And stop, and it will stop with it down, and I can turn, and off we go. There we go. So that is the mechanism of the hover foot. Again, I can set it to come all the way up or go all the way down. If you're quilting with a walking foot, then of course you're going to want it to stop all the way down each time, because you want it secured down with your walking foot. So that's fine. Oh, I know what I forgot to tell you. Oh, I'm so bad. I got Steve. Oh, I was supposed to do the plug at the start, not now. I got Steve to mark all our feet down 10% on the on the website. I was supposed to do the big plug. Sorry. And I also got him to set it that it won't tell you if it's sold out if we don't have any, because I've got a big order coming in on Monday, Tuesday, and we don't put stock on unless it's here. But I've set it so that it will take your order whether I've got one or not, because it will get here Tuesday, Wednesday. So either you order other things, just sit tight because we'll wait for your foot to come in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, remember we set it so that it will do a little finishing stitch when I cut. So if I push my little scissors, it does my little securing stitch, it cuts, it lifts the foot up, and you're done. So you can imagine your little scenario. When I start again, it will do the securing stitch. So you'll zoom along, you'll get to the edge of a block. You've got two options. You can slide the next block under and keep going, or if you do need a securing stitch, you'll do the cut with a securing stitch, you will cut, and then you just take that one out and put the next one underneath. So you can see I'm not going back here, I'm not doing anything else, it's doing it all for me. So it is a joy. Now, a couple of things that we haven't spoken about yet. Does the little cupboard... Okay, let me just answer questions. Wait. Sam addresses mine. Yes, of course, Kathy, you can. And yes, I know. Oh, we always get bobbin cases and boxes mixed up, and that's perfectly fine. Marie, sure. The little cupboard doesn't come with the 475 Fiona. You've got your little Bernina clutch. So you've got a cute little stylish clutch for yours. If you... Oh, look, you know what I said about the stuff on the back wall? I've just knocked off. If you want to be... I should sell you one of these. They're huge, and they're $200. You've got to be... It took me a long time. It took me a long time to justify one, only because I had boxes everywhere. what I would do, again, kind of hope Nathan's not watching, start with the clutch. You've got a lot of room in there. I call it clutch. You've got a box about that big with a zip. It's very nice. We always joke about hitting it with the bejewelor and taking it with us to the Bernina Christmas party because it's quite cute. Start with that. Before you upgrade to this, you're going to go through a stage where you don't have enough feet and bits and bobs to justify one of these. Grab yourself a fishing tackle box, and I'm not kidding, Ruth Baird's got a really good one. But before you go and choose one, or a craft box or something like that, grab out of your feet boxes whenever you buy an extra one. Grab this. So this is a separate little instruction sheet for each foot that you buy. You've got lots of information. It's going to come from everywhere with Bernina. So this looks big. It's because it's in 10 different languages, but there's an application. Somewhere in here it says application, and it says it in lots and lots of different languages. Anyway, so you're going to get this, and it's going to tell you what that foot's for. It is really nice if you can get one with petitions this big, so that you can put that in the bottom of the container bit and then sit your foot in there. I would go there first. Then when you go up to one of these boxes, if you want to, then these you actually unfold. I unfold mine to about there, and I put them in a folder. But the other place that you will go for all your information, yes, there is a big book of feet. There is a Bernina big book of feet. It is magnificent, but it's $200. So again, I love mine, but you've got to be able to justify what you're spending when you've already bought a beautiful machine. So start small. I would say that. Start small and steady and work your way up. The other thing, in your accessory book that comes with your machine, you've got so much information. You QR code, and we're all savvy with QR codes now, aren't we? So you just get your phone, set it on the camera, like when you're checking in, when you go to the supermarket or something at the moment, and you hold that over the QR code. But way more fun than checking in at the supermarket, it will take you directly to the Bernina YouTube video demonstration for that foot. So you can sit with your book, QR code it, and have a look for one that you've already bought or another one, and it will give you a full demo. It even comes with calming music. And it's all subtitled, of course, because it's international, so it's all subtitled. You can read it, you can rewind it, watch it anytime. So yeah, so that hopefully answers your question. I find the securing stitch. Denise, which machine do you have? I have... Oh, sorry, Steve, I didn't say that. Steve says, Terry, reminding me that the discounts are applied to your feet in your cart. So it's not actually showing on the foot when you go to your checkout cart. It will show you. Thank you, young Stephen. Okay, Denise, if your securing stitch is eating your fabric, I have several places to go with that. If it's when you're also using your thread cutter, a few things to look at. One, again, which machine you want. I'm sorry, I've forgotten. So again, you might find it's something to do with, if you're going super fast, you might want to switch over to your straight stitch one. Your needle is blunt, my darling. Also check that you've got a nice new fine needle in, depending on what you're sewing on. So the first thing that's going to go with securing stitch that's going up and down in the same spot is going to be blunt needle is going to show up. Oh, when you start, which machine have you got, Denise? Tell me which machine you've got, because it shouldn't. But again, same thing. It's going to be needle. Oh, I'd go needle first. Have a look at the needle that you've got that you're using. Also with your thread cutters. Now, I will go through cleaning your thread cutter as well. We'll have a little maintenance day. And thread cutters, it's a blade. It's a blade. So two things are going to happen with a blade. It's going to get filament and stuff on it, particularly if we're doing a lot of applique with paper-backed adhesive. Over time, you might get a little bit of residue build up on the blade. And the second that that blade is a bit hit and miss, it's time to clean it. And then probably every 12 months, or whenever you get your machine serviced, which should be about 12 months, you can get a new blade put in, so it's super sharp to go again. A 720, okay, blade, try your needle first, try needle first. That would be the first thing I'd look at. throw a new needle in there, and keep, you know, people say, how often do I change a needle? It's very much a piece of, how long's a piece of string. Some people don't wait for things to start to go wrong. They will change their needle after every project or once a month, and then earlier if they start to have problems. So it is a thing as you go. But I do find I got many stitches at the start when I used 3 or 4 screws. I got many stitches, hang on, now I'm trying to read. I got too many stitches at the start when I used 3 or 4 stitch securing function. Okay, at the start. So Kathy, I would, yeah, that securing stitch should only do, it'll do a couple for you. See how we go. We'll have a talk. I'm trying to remember who's got which machine doing what and how long you've had it and those sorts of things. Oh, Marie, you did find that. Yeah. Needles are a tough thing, and they're not cheap now either. Well, I don't know. How do we look at this? Are we back to the cup of coffee thing? Good titanium needles can be up to, now they're up between $9 and $12 a pack, and you go, whoa, it's $2 a needle. It's less than half a cup of coffee. See, I can do it with coffee every time. All right, now I just want to quickly go through as well the feet that you get with your 720 is a number 4. Oh, and you've got your I'm sorry, I'm doing this and you can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, this. We need our blank, we need our buttonhole. Look at these. I haven't even used them yet. They're yellow and red one. Look at that. Fast, high tension and decorative threads, folks. There you go. Oh no, there is a fault. I didn't put the cover back on properly. Oh, Leesa. Just sit that there. Okay. Right. Zipper foot, buttonhole foot, open toe embroidery foot, which I did not have one of. I don't know where mine is, so we'll grab this one. Kathy, are you sitting at your machine while we're doing this? That's pretty cool. That's funny. Well, I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? Heavens. Okay, so I just want to mention zipper foots. I'm not going to teach you how to put a zip in today. I'm going to do projects in our new Bernina book club that will get down to the nitty gritty. But I just wanted to put in the zipper foot so that we can talk about needle position. So you have your needle position, which might be in the dark a bit, sorry girls, if I turn it, is over here. So you can take it all the way to the right and you can take it all the way to the left. You've got 11 positions to play with, so it will bring your needle down either side. And I do love using the needle position when I'm doing things like top stitching and things with my normal foot on, so I get a really, really nice fine edge top stitch down seams and things. So that is one of those times you need to remember you've got your zipper foot on. Before you take off, you've got to go and change your needle position. Okay, just remember that's another of those moments when you go, oh. Now if you do happen to hit your needle plate or you hit your needle plate or you hit your foot, your machine won't go bang, it'll judder, it'll do this, da, 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 da. And it is a little bit scary, and you're going to be able to, it'll stop, it'll be fine. Most people just head to the off button and turn it off. Needle up, all those sorts of things, I turn off. But the judder is really important. It's a little bit like SBS brakes. It doesn't just go bang, it judders, and that protects the mechanism in the needle shaft. So please don't think it's super bad. It's actually a safety feature. We're all going to do it, let's face it. We're all going to do it at some stage, aren't we? All right. And the other one is your number 20 foot. So this one you will use a lot as well in when you get into your decorative stitches. It's open at the front so you can see really well where you're going. I think when we used the circular foot attachment the other day, I probably had this one on. So that's lovely. And when you do 3D petals and things like I do, if you're following any of my tutorials or demos, then use your number 20. It's really nice. And there are other number 20s in the series of feet. One I'll show you today. Just quickly. Alright, then you've got your whiz bang buttonhole foot. Now I was scared stiff of buttonhole. They're way up there with zip phobia for me. And that's going back to the days when we used to use our zigzag and bits of chalk and heaven knows what to get them right. This is fully automatic. These are sensors up here. They need to be clean. So if ever your buttonhole foot starts to play up, these sensors here are dirty, or there's two others. You'll be able to pop your hand up underneath and you'll find the little corresponding sensor dome up underneath there. He slips on the same as I'm in your way. Same as a normal foot with the shaft. Okay, I'm going to take it off again. I'm going to show you one little trick. Because I like my thread to be through that hole, it's way easier to thread it through so it's already through underneath the foot before I attach the foot on. Put that on there. And that goes to the back. So how do we tell how big and how to organize an automatic buttonhole? So we're going to go over here and we've got a buttonhole icon on the machine. And then you've got a selection depending on your model of machine. I think 570 and 770 girls, you've got a few more, just a few more. I challenge you to use your extra ones compared to what we've got on this machine though, and on the 475. Because I don't think I'd ever use them all. But stock standard, a little latticey zigzaggy one, drop dead gorgeous for a coat, rounded edge ones for big toggles. So these three sort of are the ones you'd use for vertical buttonholes, and these ones are going to work really well for horizontal on a jacket or a coat. You've even got, now Nathan told me what it was called, this one where it just does the plain line around it and then you cut in the middle and you turn it right side out so there's no stitching on the outside. Whatever that's called, I can't remember. He knows, he's got the double degree, not me. Down, you've got all different ones. Down here, have a look at that. See that? It's a button. You can get a button sew on foot for your Bernina. It does exist. Have I got one in here? I reckon I do. Here it is. A number 18. There we go. There's another toy. Look at that. It actually, it does. You put a button under it. See that? So these are like little rubber bits. And it sits on the button and you actually tell the machine how wide apart the holes are. And this little rod, it brings the thread up and over and sews a button on. I don't kid you. And I go, why? Why would I want one? So if you're making a shirt and you want all of your buttons to be sewn on, exactly the same. If you get a professional look, that is it. Thank you. Who said that? Thank you, Marie. It is a bound buttonhole, she says. She thinks. Awesome. Okay. Let's choose a buttonhole. Oh, we'll go stock standard, hey to start. So up on your screen, here is your buttonhole. The default setting is 4.5 millimeters wide and 0.9 millimeters long. Right, well that's all fine and dandy, but what if we want to change it? So you can change the width. You can see it's gone yellow. So I can make it wider. I can bring it back to the default setting. I can go narrower, so I can mess around with it. It's at 4.5. And I can also make it longer or shorter. But it is going to change the stitch. So it's not going to be as nice and even the way it's stitched out. So we actually need to tell the machine how size our buttons are. So in here, there's a little dot that says millimeters and rec. Push that. And it will take you into this weird and wonderful screen. And the only thing I want to talk about today is this button here where it says 6 mil. I want you to push that. And here we are. So on this screen, we're going to tell our Bernina how big our buttons are. So the default setting, as we know on this one, It's 14mm button, and it's going to give us a 16mm hole, so it is allowing a little bit of extra room for a bit of give so we can slip the button through. So I can change that. So how do I change it? Oh, sorry, I'm pushing on that and that's not going to work. I can come over here and I can change the size of the circle. So I can follow this and go, if I bought a packet of buttons and I know that they are 18mm wide because it's on the pack, I'll just up this to 18. But if I don't know what it is, I'm going to hold my button, for which I do not have one on me, but that's okay. I'm going to use my finger. You sit your button on the screen with your finger over it and you just change the circle on the screen down so it matches the size of your button. That is all we do. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Then if I close that window off, we are now ready to stitch out our button hole exactly to what we need. So it's done. All I have to do is put my foot down and go. I'll do a finishing. I'll cut it, pull away. There's your buttonhole, done. That's it. It's kind of taken all the drama out of doing a buttonhole. That is just as cool as it gets. We'll do one more for you. So that's finished off at the back. It's all done. It's beautiful. I'm going through 4 thicknesses of cotton here. Just like any other scenario, if you are going through thin cotton, only a couple of layers, you're going to want that stabilizer in the middle of Vilene, or if you want it off, you'll have a tearaway stabilizer at the back. All of that is still relevant. Also, if you are doing really thick fabric or wool, you can get a stabilizer guide for, oh actually I might have one, for your for buttonholes. I may have hidden that down the bottom somewhere. If I put it in. What's that? That's it. I knew that. Yeah. So this is a stabilizer that you can also get, which you will attach in with your foot, and this allows you to get, you actually put your fabric in between here, and that stabilizes it underneath. You can see it's the same size here, underneath this, so that it pulls it all through, so it keeps it all flat. I suppose that's more to the point. Particularly if you've got a garment where you've got collars and things all happening, and you've got a placard on the front of a jacket or something, you might need a little bit of help to keep it all flat so that the sensors are all still good, and you know, you do need a flat surface for the sensors. I'm going to do a rounded edge one. I'll just do one of these for you. Is that a really long one? Oh, can you see, you'll also get a little flashing light. See that flashing light there with a little arrow on it? That is warning you that your machine is going to go backwards, and you will get that on some of your decorative stitches as well. And that's just warning you, if you're holding on, you need to hold on really just as a guide, not hold on, because the machine's going to go in the opposite direction to what you expect. It's going to go off backwards as well, which it definitely does with a buttonhole. So with this stitch, it does a stabilizer stitch down first, then it will do the rounded edge. Why, thank you very much. Now, just thinking, I don't need a securing stitch really, do I? So I'm going to go back in, go in here, and go into while I'm sewing, and for my cut, I'm going to take off that securing stitch. And you'll get the hang of that, and you'll do it so quick. So now when I cut, it will just cut, because I don't really need the securing stitch. There you go. It takes all the drama out, doesn't it? goodness. Now, while we're just here, I'll pop this off. I'm going to show you what this little spacer does. And this is brag time. So if you put yourself in my shoes as a dealer, when I'm showing these machines, and it's happened a few times, it's quite lovely when there's been someone else there with a friend looking at Berninas and they own something else. And they go, oh my, because then they see the difference. So, this is 4 thicknesses. 1, 2, 3. So that'll be 8. That'll be 12. So, yeah, 12. So this is one of the things I do. And those that have bought one off me go, oh, she's doing the triple stitch thing. She's doing the triple stitch thing. Or they'll go, I didn't get the triple stitch thing. Go back to your main menu and click on triple stitch. And this is... This is really to demonstrate the strength, the absolute strength of these machines. And they will go through anything. When we went to the launch of the 475s, we were sewing leather at high speed with decorative stitches. No change, you know, for everything I have just shown you about changing tensions for different fabrics and things. Done and dusted and perfect with 12 thicknesses. So with that in mind, this is where your little spacer comes in handy. So if I'm chuffing along, what's something that you and I do? Pin tucks. Let's talk about pin tucks or something like that. So we're coming along and we're about to go over a big bump. We're going over the bump. Actually, I'll move you over to, hang on, I've got to think about it. All the lights are so shiny, aren't they? I'll just move that around a bit. There you go. So if I'm coming up to the bump, go down, here we go. Leave the triple stitch on. As we approach the bump, now do you remember what happens? And it used to happen on my Janome. Oh, you're good on you, you put the foot all the way up. This would tip as we go up, this would tip as we go up onto the bump, and then my needle would end up hitting the front of my foot plate and it would snap the needle. So what this little bar does, you have levels 1, 2 or 3, so you just decide how much you need. I'm going to put the whole lot behind. Then when I put my foot down, it's actually sitting up on the plastic. It's not sitting right down on the fabric. I'm going to do one more stitch, so I'm a bit closer. Pop that underneath. Then when I put my foot down, it's already at the right height to move on and over onto the bump. So then there's no issue with a tilt on the foot. There's no change to the tension or anything. It all works really well. Now I had a bump right next to that, a crease, but it just then will drive it up really nicely and up over. It's the simplest of things, but because of the strength in the needle shaft on these Berninas, you can do it with this easily. So that's what that's for. Fiona, I'm glad you like your buttonhole. I expect you to use them and get the most out of them. Well, I think that I don't want to do too much today. I don't want to bamboozle you any more than I may have already done, because it's just, that's kind of everything that I would go through if you were able to come in and have a little class. And as I mentioned the other day, we've decided to relocate temporarily home because of COVID, and we're kind of looking at the 6th of November. But what happens then for me is I have so much catch up to do with my Bernina customers. So I have people waiting for a machine demo, and I have people that I want to go out into their homes and see rather than you coming to me. To me, I feel safer, and hopefully people will feel okay with that, rather than bringing everyone into a big group into the warehouse or whatever. And so we decided to move things home for now, and then we'll look at what we're going to do early in the new year. Also, This means that I can get a lot of projects done and start up the Bernina online club and all those sorts of things, and I can focus really well on doing this. So with the new website and Steve on board, as you know, helping with that, and it's all very streamlined and everything now, I can get back to sewing and I'm in my creative space. So once this is over, if you live within QE of me, then I will come to you. And that was my commitment when I decided to do this for the rest of this year. And I've got Q20 girls and Q16s I've got to get out to. I'm going out to 790 girls. That's what I'm going to do. So it's just one-on-one. So hopefully you're all okay with that. So between that and, oh, Kathy, can I come to your lesson? That'd be a no. So between that, these sessions and a club and visiting people, that will get us through the rest of this year. There are some extremely exciting things that I want to get out and do, as I mentioned on other shows, going to Maria Waters' studio and seeing Eileen in hers, and some other really special places, and I can't sort of be two places at once. So I'm going to go out and visit all my very, very talented Bernina friends as well. Oh, you're most welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, absolutely, not a problem. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I'll have to spare up for the next one now. I will get organised to do the 570, 770 next weekend. Let's go again next Saturday, and I'll do those. 475s I also need to do as well, don't I? Let's we might try and do a little bit of a combo there. We might try and do that, but I need to do, so hopefully Fiona and those with, and Michelle with the 475, you would have got a lot out of that. There's really not that much difference. It's just the size of the machine and the hover foot. So hopefully you can get cracking with that. I'll come and do a 475. We'll have a pocket rocket day, and I'll do the 9mm throats next weekend. But also in Tuesday's show, so remember in the exhibition we had all Eileen's amazing stuff, and she had raw edge applique and things going on. I'm going to do that in Tuesday's show. Yeah, I am. I'm doing it Tuesday. I'm starting a little project that's got a real mix of techniques in it. It's got, you know, I love my paper piecing, so I'm doing some of those slightly different shaped octagons. They're going to be in there with some of my fabric, but then we're going to have a whole spray of Eileen's 3D flowers running across contrasting fabrics. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm using that new Essential Applique Gold Pack to do it. So I'm going to go through a lot of techniques and go through that with you on Tuesday. And then I've cleaned up. It's not here. I briefly showed you the other day that amazing new extra wide 54-inch wide white and black stylized floral. That is going to be what we're doing on Thursday's show. So it really is ramping up to machine work next week. So I'm hoping you can join me. So it'll be 2 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday. And then Monday night, if you are in the Chandler's Cottage applique sampler, you will see a Facebook post. I'm doing a catch up with you on the applique sampler on 7:30 on Monday night. It's all on. It's all happening. So I'm going to go now and see what's happening. Did you hear that? I hit the button. Unreal. Go and see what's happening out there. But thank you very much for joining me. We have just touched the tip of the iceberg on this today. We've got so much more to do, so it's going to be lots of fun. As I said, I got Steve to put up 10% off feet. I know it's not a lot, but there's not much in there at the moment, I can tell you, with shipping and everything. Shipping channels and stuff having to be air freighted and stuff. So there's 10% off all feet. You can order whether I've got one or not. And as I mentioned the other day, I know there's a couple of you, seriously, with my dealer hat on, that were looking at one of these. And I mentioned the other day there were not many left at head office, and we don't know if there's more this year. Hopefully those 3 are still there. So if you are interested, please email me at info@Chandler's Cottage with your phone number, and I'll be in touch. The deal we're doing for machines, I can't take anything off the machines because there's only 3 left, but I'm adding in the walking foot, which is worth 190 smackers for your trio, for your walking foot, and that's all essential for quilting. And I'm putting in I'm not going to say throwing in, I'm putting in with much care and delicacy. Where are they? Oh, 37, which is your 1/4 inch foot. That there are more than one different 1/4 inch foot, but this is the one that I would recommend you'd start with. So these are getting put in, and that must be $230 worth of extra value in. Okay, so have a look at them on the website. If you were thinking, let me know, or yeah, email me and we can have a little Chinese whisper about it, okay? But for those who've got machines, get sewing. It's only Saturday afternoon. There's some big game on today, something involving a ball and some big white posts or something. So you might want to go and watch that for a while, but then get sewing, all right? Love you all, and I'll see you Monday night for club, or I'll see you on Tuesday afternoon. Bye.